We all know dogs are man's best friend, but sometimes dogs can be aggressive, potentially putting you or your loved ones in danger. So what do you do in the case of a dog bite or attack? Attorneys Brandon Dawson and Jeffrey Ward from those Thumbs Up Guys are here to help answer that question today. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is something that we don't want to think about. Of course, we love our pets, but sometimes some dogs might get a little aggressive and of course cause a dog bite. We see it kind of often, I feel like, around here, these stories. So who is responsible when a dog attacks you?
Yeah, so I'm going to start by saying I have two dogs, love them to death, but I also know that they can sometimes be territorial. So we make sure we take steps that nothing bad happens should, an Amazon driver come in our driveway or something like that. But the owner or the person responsible for the dog is ultimately responsible if you get bit.
So how can victims document their injuries for maximum compensation in a case like this?
Yeah, the main thing you want to do is, again, seek medical care and take pictures. Sometimes it's tough because you're in a lot of pain. You don't know whose dog it was. If you're at a dog park, those can be tougher ones. If it's at a house, it's a little bit easier to locate the owner or who is in control of the dog. So anything you can do to help us, figure out who owns a dog and then document the injuries from it. If you go to the hospital, which most people do after a serious dog bite, they're required to put DHEC on notice, and so again they're trying to follow up what happened, who's the dog owner, and those are another step that help us kind of be able to prove, all right, well, Emily owned this dog, and it was a chocolate lab or something like that, and be able to kind of connect the dots back to it.
Brandon nailed it though. Documenting by photographing dog bites is so important because sometimes it might not even break the skin, but we've had clients come in whose entire leg was just black and blue from a dog attack, and then a month later there's no sign of that attack at all. But the pain you went through over that month or longer, there would be no way other than you just saying I was in pain unless you took photos showing how those bruises, how those bites progressed, got worse before actually healing. So I say probably more than anything outside of getting the appropriate medical care, taking weekly, every other day photos showing how those bruises continue to grow, get worse before getting better, goes a long way in a dog bite case.
The old picture's worth 1,000 words.
Absolutely,
Sort of
absolutely.
Exactly. Are there limits to filing a claim for a dog attack?
Yeah, you're looking at 3 years, which is the statute of limitations in South Carolina for most personal injury claims. There are a few exceptions to that, so we always tell everybody you don't want to wait, right? There's no benefit in waiting till the end. In fact, it's actually going to hurt you. So contact somebody sooner than that. It could be shorter, but typically you're looking at a 3-year statute of limitations.
Yeah.
And lastly, any tips you might have for dog owners about how they can prevent something like this from happening?
You definitely want to have a leash and someone strong enough to hold the leash. You don't want to be off leash if your dog shows any signs of being aggressive or territorial. Why take the chance? If you're in your backyard, in a fenced-in backyard, and you know it's safe, that's one thing. But if you're out in public, proper leash. If your dog's known to nip, it seems mean, but a muzzle on a dog is important, especially if you're like downtown on Second Sunday or something like that. And dogs are welcome there, but they want people to be safe. Exactly. You don't want your dog, nipping a small child as it walks by just because it's in its periphery and, they instinctively turn and nip. So just use common sense. That's what I always tell folks. It's the safest thing to do in those types of cases.
Yeah. And Jeff nailed it. Making sure that if you're going down to Second Sunday, that maybe if your dog has a tendency of nipping, don't take your dog to Second Sunday. I always would get frustrated when somebody would come to the park with a dog that was aggressive and everybody knew, they're like, oh man, this guy's here again and that dog's here. Having a little self-awareness goes a long, long way to making smart moves with your dog. Again, Jeff nailed it. We are both pet owners, lovers. I've had dogs my entire life. We certainly don't want this to happen, but I think there are some smart steps we can do to avoid a lot of this.
Absolutely.
Definitely. If you guys are going through anything like this, you have questions about dog attack cases, go to inpain.com or call that number right there on your screen to contact the Thumbs Up Guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.